Are we live? Are we live? I think we're live. I don't see the preview, but I think I am live. Hey, YouTubers! This is Jacques Gaines from Jacques Gaines Photography. So cool to see you. This is the first time I do a night thing, like it's 7 o'clock now. And it is hot. It's actually hot in Quebec City. I don't know if you've seen any of my other broadcasts, but there's a lot of broadcasts where it's freezing outside. And it's pretty cold and there's a lot of snow, but today it is hot. What a change. And we're talking in I was about to say centimeters, but in Celsius, we're talking about 34 degrees, which is roughly, I don't know, it's in the hundreds, definitely in the hundreds in Fahrenheit. So it's a hot day here, up here in Quebec City. Anyways, guys, listen, before I start, I just want to tell you that Jacques Gaines Photography is all about getting the shot, but it's also about the journey getting there. So if you guys keep on watching, look and subscribe and like, you will find out a lot of stuff and see all my stuff. It's a lot of fun and I hope you do enjoy. What else do I want to talk about? I just did a video on doing street photography in the streets of Quebec City. Guys, check it out. It's kind of fun. I did it with the FZ2500. I'm a big fan of using super zooms, and it's not a thing that a lot of people do. A lot of people are old school. They use a fixed focal and they use 25, 23, 24 millimeters with 35 millimeters on their cameras. I like to use a super zoom bridge camera, and I get a lot of stuff, and I really do like that. Besides that, I also have the G7X Mark II. It sort of went against my Fujifilm X-T20 and beat it, but you have to watch the video to know why. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can find out why, but both cameras are amazing. And the G7X Mark II, basically in that video, I talked to you about the fact that the G7X Mark II really went over and above my expectations, but the Fujifilm X-T20 is still amazing in its own right. So today, guys, I'm going to be editing a portrait, another portrait. I'm going to be editing Celeste. Celeste and I, we just did a photo shoot. We went out to the countryside, but we also did some portraits because as soon as a model for me is made up, I always like to do shots with them, more portraiture. So before we leave on our trip to go and take shots, I like to get a couple of shots with my ring light. So let's go straight to that shot. Now we're going to be looking at these shots. Now I might as well mention what I shot with. I think that might be a good idea. So first thing is that I shot with a ring light. On this, you can see in the catch light right here that I shot with a ring light. By the way, Celeste is just amazing looking. Wow, unbelievable. But after the makeup's done, I always take the ring light out and I do a couple of portraits with my subject. So let's do the choice. Also, I want to mention that I also use the Canon EOS 80D, which it always amazes me, not only for video because of the dual pixel focus, but also just due to the fact that it takes amazing stills and it is an amazing camera package, even for the price, guys. You can get it on sale too now. It's a great blogger and vlogger camera. It's great when you film, when you do interviews, if you're doing video production. It's just a great camera. I also used, for the first time, the 75-300 by Canon, which I hated. I didn't think the quality of that lens was very good, but I might be wrong, and it's the first time I use it, so I just wanted to tell you guys that that's what I used. So without further ado, let's get into editing a portrait of Celeste. First thing I'm going to do is go and pick one out. So this is a picture of Celeste. As you can see, if we let it load, we're in RAW right now, so we're not going to get a total, we're not going to see exactly whether the images are good. By the way, just wanted to mention that this is actually the 16-35 millimeter lens right here. So this is an L series lens. That's a great shot right there. That could be used. This I've already done. If you check my Instagram, guys, check it out. You can see that that shot's there. This is out of focus. Boom, boom, boom. Trying to figure out which one I'll take. This is a beautiful shot, but there's nothing more frustrating than getting a great shot, and if you look close, you know, it's a bit out of focus. It's a bit blurry. What a downer. The subject was good. Oh, that's a nice shot too. But that's a subject for another video. Here we go. So I think I'm going to go with this right here. I'm going to take this right here and edit that. So we take that, we go like that. Okay. So first thing I will do in my raw right now is I'm going to go and pull up the exposure just a tiny bit, not a lot. I want to keep my dynamic range there. I can always do brightness and contrast a bit later on. I'm going to crash my blacks. I love to crash my, this is total crashing of blacks, but I like to crash the blacks just a tiny bit. Temperature, it's way too warm right now. I don't know why. I guess my camera was compensating. So what I'll do is I'll pull that to the cooler area and get a more bluish shot. Open that up. This is the thumbnail you guys are looking at. That's funny. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press Z, go in here and check it out. See my shot, evaluate what it looks like, what I have to do. And I think what I got here is a tiny bit of hair around the nose. A couple of little pimples, but I mean, look at her skin. It's just amazing. I have eyes I need to enhance. I have makeup that I can also enhance. Eyelashes and eyebrows that I can dodge and burn. Hair that I can dodge and burn. So there's quite a few things I can do here to enhance this photo. First thing I do is I go for my background and I click on the background right here. I click Control J. Control J duplicates the layer. I call that layer main, meaning it's the layer I'm going to work on. And the next step I do is I retouch. Small retouches using the healing. I'm going to use the healing brush on this. So what I do for my healing is I create a layer. I call this layer retouch. And I think I mentioned this in another video, but it doesn't matter. It's just live. You know, we're here looking at this, having fun. You guys feel free to comment if you want. I do answer your questions as much as I can. I take the healing brush, which the shortcut for a healing brush is J. I click on that. I zoom into my shot, pressing Z. Go back to healing brush, which is J. And I look at this, see that there's not much to do via the healing brush. Now remember, if you can retouch directly on main, but if you make a layer and call it retouch, make sure that you are not on current layer and you're on current layer and below. Sample right here, this pimple, I will sample the light next to her and go get that. Oh, I'm duplicating errors, mistake. So what you do with the healing brush is you press Alt and then click to sample the area you want to get that is better looking. See, there's a little white dot here, probably glitter. You press Alt and then the mouse changes what it is, and then you go here and you press that. So healing brush is basic, it's a bit like the clone stamp in the sense that you sample an area you think is nice and you bring the attributes of that area to the place you want to retouch. While I'm doing this, I might as well tell you, Celeste is a circus artist. She's really, really good. She, as a duo, she's with her boyfriend. They do what's called trapeze duo. They sort of hang off a trapeze and throw each other in the air. It's quite something to watch. Now this is a toughie with the healing brush. I have to really zoom in here to do an intricate job. This little mustachy thing here. You want to go and you want to get the lighter colors at the top, because as soon as you start clone stamping and healing with colors that are a bit dark, it'll show and it won't look that good. Find a place that doesn't have hair and go laterally over. Let me look at that. I'm not sure about that. Oh, that's not bad. That's good. Go back in there. Ugh. Nose hair is just a tough thing. Hair under the nose. Because of where it's at, you have shadows. Underneath the nose, you have shadows. So it can cause a bit of a headache. Wait, what's going on here? There you go. No, not French. I need English. There you go. So because you have shadows under there, the light is not the same. You can't lighten that area. You have to keep it dark, but it's a certain type of dark that makes it confusing, because when you go and clone stamp certain parts, you clone stamp a darkness that can also make it look like an actual mustache. And from the look of this girl, you know, she's far from being a girl that has a mustache. I always say you can use liquify, clone stamp, retouch, whatever you want. Use whatever you want. Just make sure you're trying to reproduce what your eye saw. Don't try to enhance. If the person is a plus size model, use the liquify to make sure that lens distortion doesn't make them look even bigger, but don't try to make them look thinner. Try to stay closest to the truth. So in the case of Celeste, she's in really good shape these days. I mean, she's actually lost weight. She's like, circus performers train constantly. I mean, this is nay shy of what can I say? You know those CrossFit people that are always training? Same sort of thing. I'm gonna have to zoom in here. See right here, this little hair right there? I'm gonna try to take care of that. This is tough. Now, there's a fine line here. Another thing I want to mention, I could have gone to a thing called frequency separation. I could have easily used it here and it would have saved me the day. I don't like to use frequency separation when the person's skin is already super nice. Retouch the lips a bit, get a uniform thing here. So again, I will mention what I'm doing and the gist of what I'm doing. You press Alt, go get the texture of what you like, click on that spot, and then go fix the spot. So if I'm trying to fix this white thing here, I go to the side of it. Why do you go to the side? Because you go to the area that has the same sort of light, so you don't screw up the light too much. There's a lot of work to be done here, so let me open the brush up, healing. I'll try to go a bit faster. Now, I'll probably do another tutorial on frequency separation. Now, today, the only thing, I am going to do dodge and burn, but I'm going to be using the Flurn actions because they're just so amazing. And I see no need in not buying them. I know I'm going to get flack for that, but you know, when you get a Photoshop action where it takes 4 seconds to make the eyes kick ass, why would you go and learn how to enhance eyes that much? I guess it's a good thing, you know, via sharpen and stuff like that and color enhance. Look at that. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Let me open this up a bit, try to work and make this bigger so we can see what's going on. Zoom in. Doesn't look too bad. That's nice and soft. Now, see what's happening here? There's a bit of unevenness. That's okay though. That you gotta leave there. I mean, if you make this person look too perfect, you know, you'll get one of those, you know, typical Playboy airbrushed photos from the 80s that look really weird. So there you go. I think that looks good. Little dot there. Okay. So the next step, oh, let me get this, my window. Sorry guys, I'm just going to pull my window out so you can see what I'm doing a bit. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is the next step here is I am going to go and do, the eyes. Again, guys, I'm using Flurn method. As you can see in my actions, I have all the Flurn method stuff. So I will go into Flurn method, amazing eyes, press blue eyes, and just click play. That's it. Flurn brings you through this thing, and then you can just do what you need to do. Take this dot, move it over the eye. Celeste has blue eyes. So we use the Flern method, blue eyes, to enhance her eyes. Press enter, continue. Move this over. So how Flern method works is that you basically just follow the instructions. They got a thing that tells you the instructions on how to do what you need to do inside of the action. Sharpen. This is where everything changes within that. Now it's the high pass right here. If you sharpen this a lot, it'll really enhance the eyes and make them pop. Continue. What it does is it creates here, I'm going to pull this out just a tiny bit. You can see it makes a group. And within that group, you can keep the eyes really enhanced like this. This is without, and that's with. You can see that's quite a bit. So if you want to make that more natural, all you do is take the whole group and you pull down the slider of that opacity. So here's nothing, and this is with it slowly. You get a nice enhancement. There you go. Next step, I'm going to do some dodge and burn. For my dodge and burn, I will do it via curves. So I take a curve, make a curve adjustment layer, take this button right here, go to the darkest area of the photo, and pull down. Oops, I'm in the wrong spot. Pull that on top. There you go. Once it's pulled down, you go call this burn, go to the mask and invert it. I will do the same for dodge, make a curves layer, sample the brightest area of the photo and lift up. When I do that, it brightens the photo. I call that dodge. Here's where the kicker is. I invert the mask so it disappears. And now if I paint in white in the mask, that effect will appear. So I'll go in here. Go in here and paint in here. What color am I? I'm in black, so I'll switch that over by pressing X. See how that burns that in and makes it darker? Can you guys, I hope you can see that because we are on YouTube. So you might not see all of that. As I said in another video tutorial, sometimes I will even go in and actually paint in each eyelash if on days that I feel like it, because it doesn't always happen. Change the opacity of your brush, changes how much you dodge and burn. There you go. Might do a bit more retouching there. Eyes look good. Let's look at that from afar. Okay. Take dodge and burn, put them in the same group by selecting them both and pressing Control G, or in Mac, that is Option E, G, I think. Calling that dodge and burn. Now, if I pull, this is without, this is with. Without, with. So I'm enhancing the, I'm basically enhancing the makeup that was already done by the makeup artist. I will also leave a link to her Instagram below as well. Her name is Jacinthe. I will keep on dodging and burning. I will burn the dark parts of her hair, tiny bit, but they've already been burnt a lot. The actual shot, by the way, this is continuous light. If you were wondering, it's not a flash. And here's the most important thing with hair is dodge. Go dodge, dodge hair all the time. Dodge the highlights. See how that pops out. Now, if you want to bring dimension to her face, the next thing you do is you come onto the cheekbone, because the natural behavior of a human being is when we look at another person's face, you will interpret angles on a person's face by what type of light it's actually reflecting. Therefore, the top of the jawbone is pointed towards the sky, therefore it will be by default lighter. The bottom of the jawbone will be darker because it's pointed down to the ground and the sun isn't hitting it. So the brain sort of sees dimension. If you want to bring more dimension into your photo, you can burn the jawbone on the bottom just a tad. I don't like to burn this a lot because we're going back in the 80s if you do that too much. And you can go and dodge the top of the jawbone, tip of the nose, all of the things that bring in a bit of dimension. I won't do it a lot here because everything seemed to work out pretty good. That really looks good. And another thing I also like to dodge is a bit the glitter of the makeup. So let's see what we can do here. Glitter of the makeup. Glitter of the makeup. See that? See how it becomes magical? Right here as well, you can come in here, brighten that up. Now, a lot of people don't share this opinion, but I will always dodge the white of the eyes. I just find it brings up. Now, had this been flash photography, I also dodged the catch light. That, see the little round circle? That's the catch light. That's the reflection of what is actually giving the light in the eye. Now, when you use flash, there's little squares and stuff like that. But in the case of a ring light, you get an actual ring. There you go. And also lips, guys. Always do your lips. Tip of the lips. And jewelry. She's got a nose ring, so there you go. Next step, let me look at that. Just a global. Let's pull the dodge and burn out to see what happens. That was the initial photo. That's the photo now. So it's just, you know, there's glamour. Bringing in glamour. Now, as you can see, another thing I really like is her hand there. Celeste has beautiful hands. Did I specify that enough? She's really got beautiful hands. I love hands, like hands and feet. I'm a hands and foot guy. Can you believe it? Brighten up this a bit, bring some dimension there. I'm gonna go back down and retouch right here. I'm gonna retouch a tad right there on her jaw. Because as the image is getting more and more flawless, I'm realizing that there's stuff in there that you know, the faults show a bit. Sample on the side. There you go. Looks a bit better. Well, there's nothing that's not sexy about her. Look, see this? This is peach fuzz. Peach fuzz, a little tiny blonde hair, and even that's sexy. Just looks great. Let me go back in the dodge again. So all of this is sort of like it's an organic process. You know, you do one thing, you come back to another, you look at it globally, and you realize, oh, I could have done something there. Whiten the teeth a bit. Let me see that. Without dodge, without dodge, with. I think I like that. Next step, here's a trick, guys. I do this all the time. What I do is I take on the PC, it's Control-Alt-E, which basically is what you see. What happens is Photoshop takes whatever you see and makes a new layer uneditable, and you can work on that layer. Now, if ever you go back on your decision, you can pull it out and start working on your stuff again. It doesn't matter. But at this point, I have all my edits done. I would most likely, because of the shape of her face, crop in tight because it's an, you know, I really like this shot. I really like her face on this. Try to get rid of the elements in the back. That's my crop. See that? And the next step I'll do is I will do filter, iris blur, blur, and in these, blur gallery, iris blur. It creates like a circle. You go find your center of attention. And you can play with that. The level, what it does is it blurs the outside of your image and gives you some focus towards the middle. Now you can take it in how much you want that. Here, I just want to show you that's exaggerated. And as you pull out, look what happens. See, the blur follows what you're doing. Now this is way too much, but it's a good way to know what you're blurring, and then you can pull it back using this little slider here. Okay, do you guys get that? You see what I'm doing? What it does is it brings the attention to the eyes of the subject. Let's see what that looks like. It's taking a while because this is a big picture. What's the size of this? Image size, 4,000 by 5,000. Yes. So that is it. I'll do a couple of other things just for the fun of it, but I could easily leave this photo as is. There's no doubt about it. But I have my own style. One thing I like to do, I learned this a long time ago from lynda.com, is you place a black and white layer on top. Wow, she looks great like that. Anyways, you place a black and white layer on top. You play with these filters here to go get something that you like about the image. And then you take this black and white layer. I call it drama. Most of the time I call it drama. And I take the blending mode and I flip it over to soft light. Boom. When you do that, you just bring in this photographic feel to it. If you don't like, here's without, here's with. So it's very contrasty. The colors pop a lot more. You can also, what I like to do with this is you can play with it with the slider as well and put the effect in as much as you want. That's what I would do there. Next thing I like to do is I put brightness and contrast and I play with it. If this is a photo that I'm hanging in the house or it's on the web or it's for my portfolio, I will leave it like this. If I am to put it on Instagram, first of all, if I do Instagram, I come here right away and I'm putting it at square 1:1. Okay, let's say I'll do that for you guys right now. So let's say I go Instagram, I will go square 1:1. I will definitely blow the eyes out like crazy just because Instagram, it gives pop to your portfolio when you do that. I would do something like that as a crop. I would definitely heighten brightness and my contrast. Next thing I would do on this photo, if it were for Instagram, I'll post this up on my Instagram. If you guys, it'd be kind of cool after this, you guys go and check my Instagram out and put a little like and follow as well. That's always kind of cool. Then I go back down to my amazing eyes and I pulled this fill down to 59%. I blast it. You just blast the hell out of it. You got to get the drama in those eyes. You know what? I just realized that it's not affecting amazing eyes because I made a layer here called new main, which I normally call new main. Okay. Main with a 9. Let's leave it there. You know what I'm going to do? Believe it or not, I'm going to go and actually put the blue eye filter on again. Let's do that just for the hell of it. See what happens. Now, I know this is like overboard, but you got to understand that when you're doing stuff for Instagram, it's not even the same world. Not even the same world, man. See what that does. I'm doing this quick just to get an idea. I might be really wrong. Look at that, that's crazy. See? You know, I mean, it seems a bit exaggerated and crazy, but it's just what Instagram is all about. Here, let me pull this up here. Okay, and you can pull that down a bit if you want. Bring down my, okay, yeah. Bring it over, brightness and contrast. Bring my, now you can bring these back down a bit because there's so much. There you go. So, and then the last thing I do when I'm doing Instagram is I go here and your width, Instagram does not process your photo if it's 1080 by 1080. So what's really cool about that is you get the resolution you wanted and the sort of picture quality you wanted for your shot. Now, again, I'm the type of person who really pushes for subtlety in my shots and my editing. I don't prone doing what I just did here. I mean, this is really dramatic, but unfortunately, that's the name of the game when you're doing Instagram. This is the type of shot you put on Instagram. But stick to subtlety, err towards something that's a bit more calm, more relaxed when you do your photo edits. People, don't go too crazy on putting together something that is really exaggerated like this. But to sell your product, to sell your photo services, I think it is a necessary evil that you got to process just over and above to catch the attention of everybody out there. JGP, Jacques Gaines Photography, is all about getting the photo, but it's also about the journey getting there, guys. I hope you really like this video. Like, share, subscribe, do all kinds of stuff. Put comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And don't forget, everybody, keep on making something from nothing.